girl. We've got a cat shit. That's what we're doing in 2026.
All right.
So let's back it on up. We're gonna back that thing up a
All
little
right.
bit.
Beep,
And
beep, beep.
we're going to talk a little bit about, well, first of all, it is 1 week out from Christmas, honey. And so we ain't playing. All right. The Image Factory Masterclass is the reason we are coming to the table, my friends. And I am so thrilled to be able to be bringing my good friend Esme. That is one of the best things that have come out of 2025 is meeting you at a lunch table at the Maxwell International Conference. And guess what? You're stuck with me like faux life. So there was nothing else on the agenda other than to simply schedule a Image Factory Masterclass and take the elevator on up each floor of this Image Factory with our people. There's like that was clearly the next step, Esme. So after saying all of that and having that all said, I'm going to welcome my listeners here for a little special holiday teaching and lesson where I'm going to bring my friend Esme. She's going to introduce herself. And we are going to introduce this incredible master class that we have coming up in January. So, welcome back to Blaze of Influence, the podcast that is helping emerging leaders bridge the talent gap and inspiring the next generation. Today's episode is an introduction not just to a program, but to a partnership, a friendship, and a leadership experience we're excited to bring to life. Again, like I said, January 23rd. We want to share who we are today, why we are working together, and why one of the core tools inside the Image Factory Masterclass is the DISC assessment. And not only the DISC assessment, but the Maxwell DISC assessment. So if you're new here, I'm Emily Marola. I am the founder of the Blazer Society. I am an executive coach and a mom and a friend, and I really elevate fun in these halls at the Blazer Society. I work with founders and I work with leaders, ambitious professionals on identity and executive presence and influence. My work, it sits at the intersection of how you see yourself, how you show up, and how others experience you in the leadership spaces. The Image Factory was created because I saw a consistent gap. Leaders were doing the work, but their presence, their confidence, and the communication weren't always aligned with their level of responsibility or ambition. And it breaks my heart a little bit. So I had to do something about it. That is where this masterclass was born. So at this point, I'd like to bring in my girl, Esme, executive coach, speaker, beautiful friend, knows way, way more about technology than I ever will. And I know will keep me in line so that my customer experience is like chef's kiss. So Esme, welcome to the stage, girl. Tell us about you.
Hello, thank you. I am so glad to be here with you guys today. Such an incredible honor to be here to share this space with you, Emily. I just want to say first off, thank you. Thank you for saying hi. Thank you for welcoming me into your space. As you mentioned, we did meet at one of the John Maxwell conferences early this year. And honestly, that was such a God thing because here I was with my little tray, my little lunch tray, looking for a table. And I see these two women at a table. And I was like, well, they look like somebody I want to sit down with and maybe have lunch with. And who knew that that lunch will turn into an amazing partnership, friendship, and all of these other things that we have shared in this year. So thank you for the person that not just elevate fun, but being the person who elevates other women to step up into a space that they have never been before. And I know that you have done that for me. We've gone through different floors, as you call them, and this master class is going to take your people and your women through levels here and floors. And I love that idea because when we go up in the elevator, like we have one goal in our mind, and that's the place where we're headed. You don't get off the floor that you're not going. And I love that idea that you're already putting in other women's mind to
Mhm.
going up. And
Thank you. That's it.
you're not getting off in the wrong floor. Like we're going up, we know where we're going, we have direction, and I love that. So thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to partner with you and bring in one of the most amazing, useful tools that I have found within our Maxwell community, and that is DISC. And if you're not familiar with what DISC is, let me just tell you, it is not just another tool. It is not something that's going to tell you your personality. I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert. It's not about that. DISC, it's going to help you identify your style of communication. But not only that, I have done this with my clients. One of my most recent clients, 2 weeks ago, we had a debrief and we're talking about DISC, and she was already coming to the table telling me, listen, my team members that her employees, she does not call them employees, she calls them team members. My team members, I've already started figuring out who is an S, who is a D, who is an I. And this was just right after we had a debrief, right? She took the assessment, she came in, and already it's starting to figure out who is who in her team. This is how
Mm.
DISC can be in your space. It doesn't just help you for your own sake, but it helps you identify other styles with the people that you work with so that you can then communicate with them so much better.
I mean, communication at this point in 2025, as we are about to turn the page into 2026, it is the number one skill set that every single person will have a return on an investment if they start to sharpen those skills and become better communicators, become better listeners, and more in tune and in touch with themselves and their strength zones. And so this short little 6-week masterclass really is a starter's pack on how to get into that elevator and start to go up from there. And it's an awareness process. In the first couple of weeks, like Esme had said, we are going to tap in and you're going to have your own personalized assessment and start to dive inward first to understand who you are, why you show up the way that you show up, and how you can get closer to your strength zone. We can't go anywhere alone, fast or far. We need to be able to go with other like-minded people to get us truly to the top floor and to be able to walk out there and have been leveled up in a matter of 6 weeks. So I'm so thrilled to be using this tool, the DISC assessment tool. Esme, with your experience as an executive coach and working with clients with the DISC tool, what is your most favorite or practical, usable skill set that you have learned, and how do you apply that with just your relationships and communication today?
Yes, that's such a good question. John Maxwell says that in order to grow, we need to know ourselves. And that will be something that Emily, we are going to be going through during this master class. And that is so true. I cannot do something out there and do it well if I don't know myself. Like there is so much value in knowing who you are, especially when it comes to communication. Because first off, people are going to know if you're fake. If you're not genuinely communicating, if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know the vision, if you don't know the mission, and if you don't know your team members, people are not going to buy into any of those things. So when I coach my clients, I'm going to go back to my example, my most recent client that's come on board coaching with me, and say, there are a lot of things that if you don't know who you're communicating with, you're done. But if you don't even know yourself and you're trying to communicate something, you are double done. Like you're not going to go anywhere. Because
Mm,
again, people will know that you're fake. People will know that you don't know where you're going. You don't know your vision and your mission. So why should I believe in something when you don't even believe in it yourself? So that would be
yeah.
the biggest learning curve that I would say it's out there with a lot of executives, a lot of small business owners specifically, that they don't realize that that is a thing. And they're sitting here wondering why team members don't listen. There's one question that I ask everybody before we start coaching. And I say, hey, when was the last time that you designated something to somebody to do, that you assigned this task to somebody and they did it as you asked and you only had to say it one time?
Mm,
Nobody has been able to be like, oh, yesterday I delegated this and I said it how I wanted it and they went and executed just like I said. And that alone tells me, communication is a problem. If you're not able to communicate what you want, you don't get what you want. So that's the
it
first
is,
thing that I ask.
yeah, it is the easiest way to keep us stuck.
Yeah.
And at this masterclass, don't even think about bringing your shrink wrap to it, okay? Because we are not doing any shrinking at all. We are taking well, first of all, we're starting inward, right? And that's why we start with values, we start with DISC, and we start with a really, really incredible resource like the Maxwell DISC assessment tool. And once we start to become more self aware about ourselves, how we're showing up, and how we can best be positioned in our strength zone, that's whenever we're going to be able to turn that outwardly and start to really dive into executive presence and why that matters most in 2026 in the marketplace. We're going to be talking a little bit about personal branding and what that means for you. Just, the average ambitious professional who seeks to be a trusted advisor with their clients. That really does mean carving out a personal brand, controlling that narrative, understanding that you have a digital footprint, you have a digital storefront essentially online, and how you show up online today in 2026, how you leverage AI, and who you show up in person all matters. And when they are all aligned congruently, that's when you truly have a trusted advisor presence that is trusted, and it builds relationships and it's scalable. You have a real clear understanding of who you are, your strength zone, and how you can start to command a room and exuding executive presence. That is the goal. 6 weeks in, March 6th, just as the spring is hitting us, you are going to be locked and loaded, speaking and exuding executive presence, well boundaried, knowing the perfect colors that make your skin and hair tones pop. You are primed to be able to throw on the blazer and go do the thing, whatever it may be for you. So, Esme is the perfect person to bring into this equation. And all of this inward and outward work is going to require a room that has a certain psychological safety. And between Esme and I and our experience, our backgrounds, the fact that I focus on the presence and identity work, Esme is focused on behavior and leadership dynamics in this particular masterclass. Together, we create a full picture for you to truly walk out of this masterclass inspired, with your your edges sharpened, your skill sets sharpened, and confident, exuding confidence. That is the goal, in which we are going to be on a growth journey. We're going to be learners, forever learners. And a really amazing tool that we are also going to weave into the content of this is through the 15 laws of growth. It's a Maxwell classic. Esme, do you have any thoughts on some of the laws that we're going to be bringing forth for our participants on that book?
Yes, so this book I do have, and I am gonna reserve my favorites, but I do have to say, if I have to pick a second favorite, it would certainly be that you have to know yourself to grow. Because I do believe my experience, my personal experience, and I know probably a lot of people experience that, but I never intended to be where I am today. Like this has been a process of growing, learning, and putting myself in places that I never thought I would be. Right. One of those things was going or being part of the Maxwell team. I
Mm-hmm.
never thought, I'm going to go put myself out into the world and see what this is all about. And there's a lot of times when we can sit back and because we don't know who we are, we're not able to exercise that part of ourselves. If you don't know that you are a leader, you are never going to even act like one. If you don't
Yeah.
know whether or not you're a good communicator, you are never going to step into that communicator role to see how good or how bad you are. And it's the truth, right? We can be good at certain things and not so good at other things. And people are just afraid to find out what they're bad at, which to me is, it doesn't even make sense. Like, I want to know what I'm not good at
Yep.
so that I can either delegate that job to somebody else so I can do what I do well, or I can get better. And some of those
Mm.
things, it does matter. If you're not
Yep.
a good leader, it does matter that you become a good leader. Now, we can sit down and say, does it matter if I don't know how to use technology in certain ways? Okay, maybe not. Maybe that's not going to affect your job. So it's okay if you delegate that out to somebody
Mm-hmm.
else who's better, right? But
Mm.
there are things like when it comes to you, the person that you are, your purpose, how you communicate, how you drive your presence, yourself, and your business, those things matter. It matters for you, for your teammates, and for your business. So knowing who you are, what's your mission, what's your vision is so important. And we can only know those things if we know ourselves. Like I can't be
That's
anybody
right.
else. I can't know those things about me. I can't be Emily. What Emily wants is what Emily wants for her, what is her calling, what is her purpose, how she communicates. And what is Esme? It's a little different than Emily. We may have similar goals. We are all about growing. We are all about helping other people rise up to the next level. We're all about sharing our knowledge, experience, and our resources, giving back, teaching other women how to be better. But we are
Yes.
different people. And we know that because we know who we are, but we're able to collaborate and come together for our own unique purpose. And I would say, if I have to pick a second law, I would say in this book, that would be know yourself to grow yourself. That would be the law that
Mhm.
I would pick as a second one.
It's so true because we're doing inner and outer identity work, right? That's what we are combining in this 6-week masterclass, where we've got the identity work, the behavioral awareness of how we show up. And once we are aware of how we show up, that allows for us to start to pay attention and make it about our relationships and really listening to understand the people that matter. Our words matter, as May had said it. So, this is a safe space for that type of growth. And what I have learned, and this is nothing new, this is just a modern day version of what people have called a mastermind. And the most powerful growth and transformation that can happen is in safe spaces that allow room for growth. And when you have someone like Esme and myself who are on growth journeys and we're sitting on the other side of you, that understanding, that perspective is the surest way to get exactly to your strength zone, to be walking out of that period of time, 6 weeks, with a very, very clear vision of the place that you should be, focusing your efforts in 2026, focusing your career on, and focusing your growth areas in. That clarity is priceless, truly. And leadership, it starts to feel grounded, instead of forced once you start to become very clear about your strength zone, your values, inwardly who you are, and where you need to be showing up for other people. So, who is this for? Who is this masterclass for? And I would say that anyone who is interested in learning a little bit more about what is making them light up, perhaps interested or curious about their purpose, those who maybe feel a little bit overlooked and unseen, those maybe who are really trying hard and showing up and doing their best, but they just don't simply get the invite to come to the meeting. They don't get a seat at the table and they're just not sure why. Those are the perfect kinds of audience members to come along this journey with us. This experience is for founders, professionals, ambitious authors, speakers, anyone who is a leader and who is trying to build trust, who wants to grow and get that clarity, some real raw self-awareness wrapped in love, then this is for you. So, Esme, do you have any last parting words for our future Blazers?
Whoa, oh my goodness. Okay. So I would say certainly when you were talking about, who is this masterclass for? I would also add the women who just don't know. Like, you want to be up there, you want to sit at the table, you want to grow, you know what vision you have for yourself, but you just don't know how to get there. This is for you, because we have a person who has been in the, VP seat. We know we have you, Emily, in that space. We know that you've been at the table. We know that you have that experience and that you can turn around and coach somebody to also get there. Because at the end of the day, you can have a vision, you can have resources. I mean, we have AI, right? We can sit down and ask AI all the things, and AI can give us a plan, but that doesn't get us where we want to get. So I want you ladies to think about that. If there is anybody, just let me ask you right now, where is it that you want to be and what's keeping you?
That's right. 90 days.
I'm going to say over 90% of the times, you know what you need to do. You know probably how, but you don't know who. And there's a lot of value in knowing someone who's been there. That can make a world of difference, not just in how we achieve getting there, but someone who's going to be building us up in the process. And think about it this way. When you don't know, you just don't know. Like, if you've never ran a 5K, 10K marathon, whatever, right? If you don't know what to expect. Like, you show up on race day, you don't even know, like, you don't know where you go to get your number. You have no idea where to go. But the second time you register for that run, for that marathon or triathlon, you know exactly where to go. You know exactly what to expect. And a lot of that has to also come from like the people around you. You're going to start asking questions. You're going to start asking other people like, hey, where did you register for this? And when you run a race, and again, I know, very few people have never probably participated in a race, but that's how it goes. The people around you start helping you. And you have a voice that it's like the master voice that is telling you exactly how it's going to go, what to expect, how to prepare. And that is what you ladies can get with Emily, who's been there, who's done it. And you have then community, the people that can have different experiences as well, and they can come on board and support you, be your community, the people that are in your corner, the people that won't give up on you. And then you have me. And I've done a lot of work like on behavior, personalities, and I bring in, my background is in product management and project management. So I bring all that to the table as well. Team dynamics. I love working with teams. And that is one of the most, I would say, probably one of the things that small business owners don't really get a lot of coaching on, because, a lot of them have teams that are people they know. And so it's hard sometimes to put structure, rules, and regulations on the people that we know. And then
No. Yeah. Thank you. You're sweet. Guys, I didn't even have to pay her for that. So, I mean, maybe that's just proof of concept or social proof here. I don't know. But what I would say is that I am on a growth journey and it's not ever going to stop. And so, whoever wants to walk alongside me, I invite you. Whoever is ready to truly reflect, be able to look at themselves square in the eye and do some, self-evaluation and self-awareness, be quick on their feet, learn to adapt in 2026. And then lastly, execute, because there's nothing that I would love to see more is my blazers truly blazing the trail that they were intended to blaze and stepping fully into their strength zones and winning the day. So, honestly, understanding that leadership presence, it is built up. It is one of those things that you've got to build. You got to be a builder, okay? It's not performed. Although life is a stage, my friend, life is a stage. So, we're going to wrap this quick little Blaze of Influence episode with my beautiful friend Esme with an invite to our Image Factory Masterclass, which begins next month. We would love to have you join us. There is continuing education credits pending. If this applies to you and these details matter, please reach out to me personally. You will gain insight on how you can lead, how you are experienced, and how to grow in ways that last. Lastly, you can find the full details and registration information in the show notes today. As always, thank you for listening. We look forward to walking with you through this experience. Until next time, we love you. Mwah. All right, girl. 30 minutes.